Welcome to Redhead Rewriting Reality by Kim Iverson. The story of my life as I figure out who I am after a lifetime of abuse and share my journey with that. Sharing the story of building my author career, the struggles, bettering self, and creating a new life. I'm a multi-genre author who publishes under Kimberly Sue Iverson. If you'd like to explore my work, visit KimberlySueIverson.com. This audio is intended for an adult audience. Themes and topics may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. Now, get yourself comfy and make yourself at home, and let's dive in. It goes beyond narcissism. The hoarding was also a problem, and probably deeply affected me, and may for anyone who grows up around someone who is a hoarder. A random memory circulated once I began going down a rabbit hole in my mind. It was around the smell of the house, and what I was thinking about that was technically with me cleaning and being old enough to stay on top of the cleaning. It was a memory of being in school, and a girl had told me I smelled, which, of course, is a horrifying thing to hear, let alone as a child. And I was thinking about how at the time, she didn't gather that it was the house I lived in, the mother and abuse I was dealing with. It wasn't just that I was a disgusting little child, that even back then, my mom was a hoarder. It was dogs more because she bred Shih Tzus. But we also had other animals. I was also harassed by my mother for doing anything around taking care of self that included the basics around hygiene. Yeah, as a child, she'd chide me for not doing things we all do, and that's right to take care of self. Baths, showers, washing hands, face, teeth, whatever. Then I'd get the same treatment if I did do it. I have mentioned I struggled with using the bathroom like a normal person too, because she'd go off on me for random reasons for that too. Tell me I went too much, too little, spent too much time in there, yell at me while I was in there, yell for me the moment I was gone, because how dare I have time to self? So I would attempt to scurry in and out as fast as possible, and usually as a child, try to get things done when she didn't notice. Those are still things I struggle a lot with. Knowing that in fact, self-care is all right, that I can take my time to tend self and even take a bath. The house and those around me will not fall apart the instant I go in there. Needless to say, I still am working through those things, so when anyone gives me any semblance of a hard time around it, I can struggle a lot. You know, the normal hurry up stuff. If we're concerned we will be late or are, and people will do out of anxiety more to others, or if someone takes too long, you might get concerned and check on them. You okay in there? I've had my bladder lock up on me just because it wasn't quiet, or if I was in a public place. So then someone checking on me reignited those fears. Oh God, something is wrong with me. Having had IBS triggered by stress was a surefire way to destroy my world at that time. Because while younger, it's horrifying to have attention on you or to deal with public humiliation, social shame, peer pressure. We feel as if that's everything to us, Something happens when we get older, though. It started in my 30s, but really amped up in my 40s. A self-acceptance that I am how I am. And public scrutiny isn't as horrific as it may seem. I think about those scam emails that I'm sure you've received too, stating someone has a video of you on not so savory sites, and if you don't respond and pay them, they'll share it with everyone you know and who knows you. It's amusing that the wording for it is for a man often, not woman when I get them. Their entire hope around that, though, is the horror you may feel around people finding that out. Now, granted, I'm a woman, so I fully admit that plenty would have a little more leeway on feeling grossed out. More so men if a video of that got around. I don't go to those sites, so sorry to some it would not. But they prey on the fact that you would be mortified like a child to have those around you find out that you enjoy certain sites, and oh, the horror of it going out to people who know you. I'm at that point myself where I, one, considered it and went, yeah, no, I wouldn't care that much. I'm pretty open about my life and things, and may get more open because I feel no need to hide self too much. But two, that's healthy and normal, provided, not underage or horrible type of content watched. So if I accidentally got a video like that of someone I knew, I'd delete it and not really think much, outside of maybe feeling bad for them for how that would make them feel. I'd focus more on their discomfort. And that's what those type of people, much like my mother, really pride themselves on and really use against us. Our own shame and humiliation. Their power is over how we may feel if another got a hold of such things, making us feel as if we are the ones to feel the shame. Which is why it always horrified me as a child to think about the critique of others around how I looked and took care of myself, and never really took in that it wasn't my fault. I was always the one to blame. Always my abusers made me feel as if I was to concern myself with the way others thought of me, not focus on them. Not simply say, I live with someone who has improper self-care and doesn't teach me proper self-care, so I have no idea how to take care of myself. Because, child. It goes back to what I said before around having proper role models. If we don't have a proper role model, we don't know what we don't know. As a child, we're not taught proper self-care techniques. And at least when I was growing up, we didn't have the internet at our hands. Hi, I lived before the internet came about. Too many gripe at us and forget not everyone even grew up in a time where there was internet, where there was the ability to easily learn things. So it's also not a default response built into us. I can think of those moments now from the past and those struggles and not feel overcome with shame all the time, but it often wasn't that way. I do struggle at times still. It's just this intense embarrassment or shame that will wash over me. I don't tell people about it because I don't want apologies or to make them feel bad for being normal. I don't want to be the quote-unquote too much person or the quote-unquote you're a lot of hard work person. I get it enough. I'm not easy to live with, even for self. I get it. Thanks for reconfirming that I'm worth this. It's great. My mom was never a clean freak. My dad was. From him I get the urge to pick up those tiny scraps off the floor that many don't notice, just because they're there. He was my balance point, and why I don't think I completely lose it for being criticized or understanding how different I am from people. Not sure. I just know he was the grounding point for me. It's why I seek that stable, strong, masculine energy to help me become better. It's familiar, it's safe, it grounds me and helps me heal. We can all say that. People underestimate or say bad things about masculine energy, often because they've dealt with the bad side of it. Not real masculine energy, but someone taught them that was it. Just like there are plenty of bad feminine energies where people say that's not bad, but it is. We each combine both energies, and without that balance of the right version of it, we can become toxic and not our best selves. My mom grew up with a mother she said used Lysol to bathe in, which always made me wonder then if how my mom became was in a way to spite her own mother. Extra clean, crazy methods to keeping clean and remaining so, then I'll do the opposite. That could be said for me. I've made it pretty clear many times that she inspired me on what not to be. I often looked at her habits and wanted to do different, be different. I wanted to be a better person than she was and still do. I was just not taught how to be, how to do it. If I learned something, it was usually from another. There is so much I don't know about taking care of self that I feel I'm behind on or left out. I'm sure you may or may not understand in your own way. I didn't get to experience things like normal, so there is plenty I try to teach myself and always have. It's a huge reason I'm hypersensitive to those who feel they don't know something or get criticized for it. I always say the only stupid question is the one not asked. Don't ever feel silly for not knowing something. I know, heed your own advice, Kim. It's true though. We are not dumb for not knowing certain things. We didn't all have the same advantages or upbringing another may have. We also may know things another doesn't, despite our IQ being less or theirs being less. Knowledge and smarts aren't all earned in books. The hoarding can infect us too, though, if we're raised around someone like that. My brother was watching this video on an actress that police went into the house of and ended up forced into shooting her, where it did seem as if she planned for it and wanted it. They had to go through piles of junk and small walkways of clearing to even attempt to near the bedroom before finding her in there. She was laying on the bed in a small sliver of space because the bed was piled over as much as was the rest of the house. My brother rightly pointed out that our house would have looked like that had I not lived there, and how does one even begin to get into that space? I told him it made me think of what our cousin mentioned dealing with for his brother. My cousin passed not long after my mom did, And we found out that the guy ended up becoming a hoarder too. He had stuff all over his house, including the ex-girlfriend who'd passed her stuff, something like that. My brother's comment about how it even gets that bad really struck me, just because I was thinking about his proclivity to leave the pile of laundry on his bed too, where he will throw it down, let it sit there, and not bother to hang it up, fold it, deal with it. He says he's tired, he'll get to it, any number of things. That's how it starts. It's not a big, giant, massive whoosh of a problem. It's deciding not to worry over that pile of dirty laundry or dishes, then that stack of mail, and oh, how about that treadmill now a closet? We'll get to it later when we feel better. But often what happens, especially if you deal with pain or otherwise, later doesn't usually come soon. So one thing gets put off, then another, until it's piles and piles of things to deal with. It overwhelms us. We leave it. We are too tired. Maybe later. Later never comes, but the piles grow. Then people who are hoarders, as I've mentioned, seen with my mom, they emotionally attach to everything. It becomes more than just a pile to deal with or get rid of. That item now has emotional significance. Its presence there is comforting. Without it, with it being moved or dealt with, it's going to make a person see more to deal with within themselves. Now that problem of a pile of laundry to blame things on isn't there. They're going to be stuck alone in that room with their own reality that it was never that pile of laundry that wasn't an issue. Its removal faces us to see that the laziness is just us. For me, that clean space can really energize me though. It's when things are cluttered that it doesn't feel good. With all that chaos though, it was a reflection of my mother's interior, littered with junk and trash to deal with that she wasn't. Piles of garbage that weren't being sorted through and let go of. Those items themselves became her entire world. So if I dared to touch even a piece of cardboard, I was going to use that. You throw everything away, in a snide and rude tone, as if that action is wrong. A lot of people like to harass people like me who rarely sit still and are up and trying to clean or do something often, but at the same time don't realize that I could easily become that very same individual who becomes a hoarder. So can you. You're all, no, not me. I hate messes. Many of us do. It's the exhaustion and laziness factor that creeps in, and then you go, tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes, and again you decide to put it off. It's not an easy process to deal with one's stuff, literal and figurative. None of us want to get out of that warm and cozy bed. We are all lying there in bed when we first wake up, drowsy, thinking I'll just lay in bed for a few more minutes. That's the moment you can choose sleep or get out of bed. I often advise people who struggle with darkness, and I've heard others gain inspiration from me around it, is just get out of bed. Get up. That's the first step to switching things, because again, I have no magic formula for being this way. No inspiration or motivation to get up and do things. I do them to get up and do them, and simply make that choice to move. It isn't me going you know what oh my gosh, it will be amazing if I get up and do this or that. I will feel great. More like that item needs a trim outside, so I need to get up and go trim it and do it. More like I am really warm and cozy in this bed and could easily sleep more if I close my eyes, but I'm going to open my eyes instead, sit up, and force myself to get out of this bed. People push too many fix-its and take this and motivate that. There's not a cure. Just get up off the chair and go into the kitchen and load the dishwasher. Just get up, go outside, and pick up a branch, then go back and rest. If you can move somehow, do so. Do it again the next time you can. It's just a choice. It's not magic. Even when I struggle to move, I might try something small to get done, just to stay on top of things. I was telling someone earlier today, we're always taught that life is happy, light, fluffy. So when we struggle, it can really impact us. I'm starting to think it's the opposite. Life is, and was never meant to be, a light, fluffy playground. It's like when sand turns to a pearl, or metal to a sword, beans into coffee. The point being they are forged and created from challenge. Life is probably supposed to always be a challenge, in some way to strengthen us, to grow us, and forge us into who we're supposed to be. It's how we handle it, and if we can find the positives within all of it, that really is the key and what we're supposed to do. Allow those challenges in life to take place. Allow it to mold you, grow you, forge you into who you're meant to be. Find the happiness within those small moments. Create them if you have to. We're here to learn and grow. And I keep wanting to say be forged into a weapon. You get the point. So many can be miserable because we get so lost in it's supposed to be better than this. But even the rich have bad days. Even the elitists have children who refuse to speak to them or struggle. We are all faced with struggles and challenges, and maybe that's what life is supposed to be about. Forging each of us into who we are through those moments and challenges. Not all of us will face the same headaches, but we're also never going to have nothing but an easygoing, never have issues life. Tire on the car will blow, lights will go out, bills have to get paid. It just is going to happen. How we handle it, how we can find the joy in the moments those challenges come, I think that's where the real happiness lies. Not allowing those bad times to persist in holding us in a negative place inside of our mind. It won't help us. It won't help others around us. It took me a long time to realize that even my mom's hoarding had affected me. But the first step in dealing with that is acknowledging it and accepting that it too probably altered how I saw and dealt with things. I went through a lot of times where I still do. I would just throw out everything without a single thought. It's not wrong to do so, but it's also not necessary to do it with everything. It's almost as if it was a rebellion against her yelling at me for it, yelling at me for having the audacity to think I could throw out cardboard I could always replace or never use, for yelling at me for yet another thing I was doing wrong when there was nothing wrong about cleaning. That's basically how I lived most of my life though. Being told I was wrong, being yelled at for the most basic things, as I've mentioned. People don't always realize that many of us who've gone through the emotional abuse route have a harder time healing than those with the physical, strictly because if you're slapped, you're not being slapped anymore. And no, I'm not saying one or the other is worse in general. I've been slapped. I've been choked. I don't walk around being afraid to be slapped. I don't walk around worried someone is going to throw me down on the ground and choke me until I can't breathe just because I interrupt their TV viewing. What does get to me, what I do fear, is saying one wrong word and being walked out on. Not moving fast enough that suddenly I'm being told I'm a horrible person, or they leave, give me the silent treatment. I fear not the physical. I fear the words, the looks, the emotional attacks, the expectation I am to manage the other's emotional state. Those things I fear. And yeah, throwing things out, that is a normal thing to discard. I fear being yelled at that for too. Months down the road, years down the road, having it brought up. Well, I can't keep anything. You decide everything. You throw everything I want to keep away. You won't let me have anything. It's always about you. You think you know everything. I could go on. Those are things I've heard. Those are things I still hear. In my mind, most of all. More to come. Thank you for reading and subscribing. I'm grateful you chose to spend this time with me. What are your thoughts? Engage with me and start a conversation. Just don't be rude about it. And as always, your shares are so incredibly appreciated. Share with anyone you think may enjoy this. Word of mouth is the best form of expanding the reach, so this reaches the eyes and ears of whoever may enjoy it. My donation link, if you found value in this and would like to support me to help keep this going, is ko-fi.com/Kimberly Sue Iverson. That's ko-fi.com/Kimberly Sue Iverson. Every little bit helps, so thank you for your generosity. Remember, kings and queens, everyone is fighting battles inside nobody can see. Who are you willing to see today? And who are you willing to let see you today? I hope someone can bring a smile to you today, or you can bring a smile to someone else. If you'd like to follow me on social media, you are more than welcome to, and I'd love to connect you there. For Instagram, Facebook, and Threads, I have to use Kimberly Sue Iverson. There is also a page for Redhead Rewriting Reality on Facebook, but for X, Twitter, Blue Sky, Telegram, and most other socials, you can find me under Kimber Bites. That's KIMBERBITES, which is what I normally use. Do you like Snapchat? Feel free to add me under Feisty Kitty. That's FEISTYKITTY. I usually try to use the same picture across the board, but you can always ensure you have the right person by checking my website link cave, which is KimberlySueIverson.com/linkcave. Want a chance for your story to be featured? Whether you're an author starting out, published and want to boost, have a tale of old to tell that has been passed down through family, or just want to share your own life experience, get in touch. Email stories2read@KimberlySueIverson.com. That's stories2read@KimberlySueIverson.com.